You're welcome to my YouTube channel where I take you through research methodology, making it very easy, even if you're a novice. Today, I'm centering on how to make a research question, how to create a research question. The best of research questions, particularly when you're into sociometric and correlational study. If you're carrying out a correlational study, how best could you make up your questionnaire? That is what we are talking about today. And just sit back and enjoy this very video. How to create a good correlational question to your respondents, your research respondents. That's what we are looking at today. But before then, creating a good questionnaire in a correlational study begins with getting the indicators of the factor and the item dimensions and the measures, and asking correlational questions using the same indicators. In my previous videos, I told you about what indicators are and how to get indicators, how to identify them, and what they are meant for. But all the same, I'm still going to buttress them here, explain them here, because we are talking about coming up with a scientific questionnaire for your study. And if you don't have this very area trashed, you don't have a good correlational question from the onset, your univariant analysis, that is the response which you get from the respondents, will be misunderstood. Definitely you won't get the right analysis, you won't get the right results, and of course that will now result to type 1 error. So to avoiding that, you need to get this very correctly. Let's go to it now. Indicators, as I told you, can be looked at in 3 ways. One, indicators are terms that define the variables. Indicators, let me just go back a little. When you get your independent variable and dependent variable, you look for the definition of these variables. These are also called indicators. The one for the independent variable are called dimensions, and the one that are for the dependent variables are called measures. Now, once you get your dimensions, the indicators of the dimensions are also, these are also defining the dimensions, and they are also called, these are called the item dimensions. If you get the indicators of the dimension, they are called item dimensions. But when you get the indicators of the independent variable, they are called factor dimensions. So you have to get the item dimensions so as to get a beautiful correlational questions. So number one, indicators are terms that define the variables. Number two, indicators are those terms that make the reader understand what the variables are when they see them. And then number three, indicators are the operational definitions by the researcher himself, what he terms those variables to be. That's what you take. Then I want to tell you again the 7 ways you can get your indicators. Number one, you get indicators by the uses of those variables. What are the uses? If you get the uses, these are indicators. Number two, if you get the definition of those variables, these are the uses. The definition of the variables are also indicators of those variables. Number three, the function. What does the variable do? If the variable does a particular thing, those things that variable do are called indicators. Number four, advantages. Get the advantages of those variables. These are indicators. Number five, characteristics. the characteristics of those variables are also called indicators. Number 6, the components. What are those variables made up of? Whatever that makes up the variables are also called indicators. Number 7, disadvantages. Look out for the disadvantages of this variable, either the independent variable or dependent variable. These two, whatever are the advantages and disadvantages, these are the variables. Having given you that background, let me just explain to you by my conceptual framework here what these dimensions are, the item dimensions and the factor dimensions. Now we have on the left-hand side the independent variable. The independent variable in this very case is profit sharing. Now, under the profit sharing, I decided to use the types of profit sharing to get my indicators. Here, one of the type of profit sharing is current distribution profit sharing plan. So that is an indicator of profit sharing. Now, what do I do again? I now look out for the indicators of the current distribution profit sharing plan. Now making it a factor dimension, an item dimension. The factor dimension, it is the indicator of the independent variable. Now the item dimension is item dimensions are the indicators of the factor dimension. So now, what are those types of current distribution plan here, profit sharing plan? Number 1, 6-monthly distribution, yearly distribution, monthly distribution. I didn't follow the sequence. It can be 6-monthly, it can be monthly, it can be yearly. Just these types of distribution are the indicators of the current distribution profit sharing plan, making it an item dimension. Another indicator of the independent variable is employee distribution profit sharing plan. Now, under the employee distribution profit sharing plan, we have non-taxable account, we have vesting account, we have free contribution. These ones I mentioned now are the indicators of the type of profit sharing plan, which is employee distribution profit sharing plan. And this employee distribution profit sharing plan, it is an indicator of the profit sharing itself, which is the independent variable. So here is an example of item dimension. Why am I going through this? So as to ask the questions from the indicators of the factor dimension. So when you ask the question from the factor dimension, you begin to get it. On the right-hand side, we have the dependent variable. My dependent variable here is worker efficiency. And under the worker efficiency, I have cost effectiveness, 1, and material optimization. So these are indicators of worker efficiency. Under the cost effectiveness, as an indicator of the dependent variable, I have input-output relationship, goal achievement, value cost relationship. These ones are indicators of the type of worker efficiency, which is a measure this time of under a measure of the dependent variable. Then I have the second type of worker efficiency, which is a measure. It is called material optimization. Under the material optimization, the indicators there are value cost relationship, less material utilization, cost saving, lower event. To say cost saving, lower event, it is a part of the material optimization. So these are now item measures. On the left-hand side, I have factor and the item dimensions. On the right-hand side, I have factor and item measures. What are all these for? These are variables that could, or better state, indicators that could explain what the dependent and the independent variables are. Now, we're going through this because it is not as easy as maybe an econometric data like this. This is an econometric data. We have prices, 10 naira, 9 naira, 8 naira, and 7 naira. At 10 naira, the quantity of oranges demanded or bought were 12. At 9 naira, 15 were bought. At 8 naira, 20 were bought. At 7 naira, 25 were bought. So these are econometric data. And it's very easy for you to now get the relationship. It's very easy to get the relationship. You say, oh, at 10 naira, 12 were bought. So 10, you can now say price and demand have relationship. The price determines the quantity to be demanded. That is normal. If the prices are high, less will be demanded. That is conventional. It is so conventional because it's easy to relate them because these are econometric data. But in the case of profit sharing, for instance, current distribution plan, how do you define that? It is the indicators that will not define it. It is what you have said it is that we take, or you check it out from the search engine, Google search engine, or the dictionary, and you look for the indicators of those variables, either the independent variable or the dependent variable. When you get to those indicators, further go on, search further, and look out for the indicators of those dimensions and measures. Then you now get the item dimensions. Now, how do we do next? We now begin to ask them correlationally. We ask them correlationally. For instance, we ask, here we say, question 1, for instance, here, question 1, we say, 6 monthly distribution to workers induces input-output relationship. You know where I got this one from? This one that I just mentioned now, I said, look at it here, current distribution plan. One of them is 6 monthly distribution. So I have to ask the question relating it to input-output. Say if 6 monthly distribution tend to bring about input-output relationship from the onset, when you ask this question here, the answer that they give, either if your Likert scaling is strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree, the respondents will have to give an answer out of these 5 Likert scaling here, out of these 5 suggested answers. You have already asked 6 monthly distribution to workers induces input-output relationship. You want to find out if actually you pay workers 6 monthly, does that encourage the workers to put in more effort? Look at it, I've already said here, current distribution plan cost/cost effectiveness. Question number 2, I asked, the use of non-taxable account result to less utilization of material. Where did I get this from? I got it from the indicators of my factor dimension. He said non-taxable account. Does it at all, have cost value cost relationship? Does it? Or this to less to utilization of material? This time it is less material utilization. So you can relate this non-taxable account to this input-output relationship, relate this non-taxable account to goal achievement, relate this non-taxable account to value cost relationship, anyone. You can relate this 6 monthly or yearly distribution or monthly distribution to any of these at all in your equation. You must do that. When you relate them, to know whether this independent variable impacts on the dependent variable. If you don't do that, how will you then know? Because these are not econometric data. These are sociometric data. Econometric data is very easy. At 10 naira, 12 were 12 origins were demanded. At 9 naira, 15 origins were demanded. At 7 naira, 25 origins were demanded. Very easy to do the correlation. But in a sociometric data like this, where you're talking about yearly distribution, monthly distribution, or vesting account, or free contribution, how do you relate it to input-output relationship, goal achievement, value cost relationship? You must then ask them correlationally. Ask the question as it is done here. You correlationally ask them that 6 monthly distribution to worker, does it have any impact on any of the dependent on the item measures? If yes, if the question is agreed, immediately you know that yes, it has. If the questions by the respondents, the responses from the respondents, if they are, disagree, an average respondent said disagree, then you know that it has no impact. The independent variable has no impact with the dependent variable. This is not a rocket science. You must have to do that. I want to say thank you very much for listening. And I am Dr. Abel Simeon. I am the Managing Director of Amom Consulting Limited. I am a director, doctoral research fellow at the Corporate Institute of Strategic Research. I am also the director of strategic planning and research at the Institute of Professional Industrialist and Management Development. I want to say thank you. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to send your questions to my WhatsApp. My WhatsApp is plus 050 plus 1 05023246646 as it is on the screen. Or you can send an email to abel.simeon@ipidm.org or abelsimeon@cisr.org.ng. Please, .ng. Just forget .ng. Just send it down there and I will attend to your questions. Or you could even send it to brotherabel@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. See you in my next video.